Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Master of Orion 2. I am playing on this is episode 2, by the way. And we are about 74 turns, 71 turns into the game. And I was just looking at race statistics. Because I had just gotten my face stomped in when I played as the Klackons, who are actually in this galaxy, but I've lost contact with him diplomatically after we actually signed a good contract. But I got beat soundly when I played as him in this environment. And the environment again is a small galaxy with 8 opponents at impossible. And pretty much the power graph has delineated between the races that were able to get more than one star system and the races that weren't. So the Sakra and Darlock are there at the bottom. The Silicioids, are they destroyed? I don't know why. I feel like there's a race that's missing from the map because Sakra, Darlock. Let's see here. Oh, I guess it doesn't have the races that I'm out of contact with. The Klackons, we came into contact, we signed a contract, and then they lost whatever contact they had with me. It's so tragic, alas. So I guess that's why I didn't see them in that histograph. Anyway, so I was looking at what it has here for the races in the infograph stuff, race statistics, and so I got my face stomped in when I played as the Klackon, and they have uncreative, which is really debilitating. It's difficult because you can't choose what your research branches are. And certainly I have a very particular strategy in mind in terms of what research I'm going to do and in what order so that I can, develop a hardy base of operations from which to build my empire. My dog is barking in the background. Hopefully they're not barking at me. I can hear a dog barking outside. Anyway, let me go yell at my dog real fast. So I'm sorry about that. I brought my dog into the room with me. Okay, so as I was saying, so I got my face stomped in as a Klackon. Totally difficult. It was very difficult. I think I could have won, but I made some mistakes, and even mistakes that I overlooked early on in the game were totally terminal cancers, terminal wounds. I guess they were just they never healed, and everything hurt. So I'm contrasting that with this game I just played. Episode 1, I was sitting pretty comfortable, I felt like. Things are going okay. 71 turns in. It's a ferocious competition with a really small star system and a lot of competing entities. So I started looking at the race statistics, and I wanted to understand what democracy does. Democracy, so I leak information because my defensive agents are penalized -10 due to emphasis on personal freedoms. So I guess they're trying to make up. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make democracies not kick too much ass, because democracy scientists generate plus 50% research, and the government's concern with promoting trade increases all tax revenue by 50%. Prohibited from annihilating. I very rarely annihilate anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. And you assimilate populations faster. I think those are huge bonuses. And then here we combine them with charismatic. I get a bonus to making deals. Every time I go in to negotiate, people are like, yay. The only thing they're not really good with is they don't give me technology. It's not like the technology got a lot easier to trade for. All right, so comparing that to other race bonuses, and we see stuff like ship defense plus 25, ship defense plus 50, We'll talk about the Cylons in a second. Population growth plus 100. That's pretty cool, actually. I feel like the ship defense and also the ship offense, I forget what they call it, but ship defense and ship offense are too easily replicated by computer systems. And so just by the middle of the game, just early on, these racial bonuses are equaled by technology. So race bonuses to ship defense, they matter early on, especially, but they become less relevant if you don't keep up technologically. Now, I didn't realize the Alkari were also a democracy, and that certainly helps their science, and they also have an artifacts homeworld. But I feel like charismatic and democracy is probably more powerful and more of a force multiplier than all these other ones. It's like playing as a human might be a little bit easier than playing as most of these other races. I think a Trilarian probably has a lot of good advantages. They also have artifacts. Transdimensional it helps your ships get, when you're under attack, you can respond a little bit quicker. And you also have a bigger population base because you're aquatic. Sakura are aquatic and subterranean, which gives them a lot of population. So that is a big bonus. Repulsive is a pretty big drag, though. And then playing as Klackon, that is definitely hard. That would be the hardest of all so far that I've tried because of it's uncreative. All right, so all together, you can see the humans have 2 special rules. It takes the Darloks 6 special rules to equal the humans. It takes the Cylons 6 special rules. So they get some big bonuses. Creative means they get all the science of any one discipline that they study, and then scientific research plus 2 per researcher. I believe that if I kidnap some Cylons, I can use their scientists and still capture that plus 2. And that might stack with my human democracy. I forget. I'll try to test that later. I'll have to kidnap some Cylons and see if I can, augment their science research with my democracy bonuses. But that won't give me creative, unfortunately. But you can see how the Cylons' penalties, like low gravity, low gravity is permanent. That's like a -10 to all Space Marine type actions. Any sort of infantry interaction, that's a minus. Rich homeworld, that lets them produce pretty well, but a lot of these races, their racial modifier involves their homeworld, like Trilarians have a large homeworld, a rich homeworld, large homeworld, large homeworld. And that lets them have a big population early, but that really doesn't seem to be like a very big force multiplier. I almost always inevitably end up acquiring, if my empire lasts, I will end up acquiring population pools that are tools, research and stuff. Also, I'll kidnap some lizards, I'll kidnap some Trilarians, and then use their population to create like higher population levels for my own planets. So some of these racial bonuses, it's good for collecting. Like I like to kidnap some Sakura people. Because they get the population growth and they can still occupy all the aquatic and subterranean levels of a planet. Anyway, so this is all the really, I guess, for me to realize that humans actually have a lot of bonuses. All my negotiations just go so freaking easy so far. And it helps that I'm neighbors with really similar, like-minded groups. But as far as games played, this is one of the most easy breezy versions of this game that I've ever played. All right, so I'm really close to developing the Merculite missile, which will really change the quality of my navy. Not only will my missile base, for example, here become much more formidable, I'll be able to build Mervine nuclear missiles onto my spaceships, and so my spaceships will become really they'll punch way above their weight class early on. Who's this? Darloks. I'd rather they attack me so my starbase can defend it. All right, so they're not going to attack me. So next turn I will attack them. Let me make sure it's noted. What I want to do is just blow up the small ship. And maybe later I can try to drop some missiles on the other one. So I fire the missiles and then I'm going to retreat. You know, I'm running away so the missiles have enough time to reach the enemy. And then I'm going to move to the left-hand side of the map so they can't shoot back. I feel like that's probably enough missiles. Well, forget it. I got to send them all. I'm going to go ahead and send my next wave of missiles at the other person. You know what? I'm going to send 2. And wow, I was supposed to be... Instead I hit done, but I wasn't done. Thankfully I can still move. Alright. So I fired 2 missiles at the bigger ship. I'm going to fire the 4th missile, or the 6th of my missiles will be going at the scout to ensure that the scout is destroyed. Somewhere. Alright, scout was destroyed. That's too bad. Are these missiles going to redirect? I don't know. But I'm going to continue to move away from the missiles, see if any of them impact, and hopefully that damage is enough to either drive that ship away, or maybe I can find some way to destroy it while it's injured. Alright, so I think I did as much damage as I can. All my missiles are done, so I am retreating. So this means my ships will be well poised to come back next turn, fire some more missiles. I'll keep this up for a while. I don't really have a choice. But I at least picked off one of his ships. Scout is not going to do anything. What am I building in Seoul? Well, missile base. Alright, so the missile base sounds really convincing, but the guy's not even attacking me. So I'm going to throw up another Firefly and hopefully deliver enough missiles that I can actually either really injure this guy and have it carry over. You see how his armor's down? Alright. Forget it. I want him dead. I'm not even going to move. I would like to space pirate him, you know, kidnap his ship, but with missiles, you have to fire. You can't just wait. You got to fire. I don't think that guy's getting away. That's good news. But it's too late to kidnap his ship. Those missiles will destroy him. Alright, okay, so now with the Mercury Light missile, my Navy is about to take a huge leap forward. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. Because the Mercury Light missile itself tends to get unused. So it's starvation. Alright, so we got food back on the market. So Cylons have my back. They saw their blockades, so now they're attacking. Now the problem is, I want to make sure I capture Nathan. And like I was saying, I have a whole new ship to design. Something truly special. The fully Merving, heavily armored electric countermeasures fast nuclear missile. Takes up 18 space. I have 21 available. What does 5 do? 36. Okay, so obviously 2. So usually the reason to do 2. Let's see how much space I actually have. I have 7 total available. So you would typically want to do 2 instead of 5 most of the time, because you want to unload all your missiles at once. as best as you are able, so that it's just more missiles in the air early on before they have a chance to hurt your ships. So instead, it's better to like fill out more missile banks. It looks like I messed up somehow. So okay, the nuclear missile itself, fully merved, is better than the introductory Mercury Light missile. And this thing just punches so far above its weight class that it's definitely like a secret weapon early on in games. Alright, so I want to build as many of these things as I can, really. Seems like the missile base takes a back seat again. I'm gonna buy one. Alright, and I also, I gotta get some Marines. I mean, I want to capture Nazen. I don't want to hand it over to the Cylons. Alright, so they cannot build. That's worth noting. They don't have a Marine base yet, so they cannot build troopers or transports for troops. Alright, so I want to build. I don't think I need that many ships in order to knock out the starbase in Nazen. But I definitely have to send transports behind it. I think I'll need a few. I don't really have a good estimate. Ruzam was a knockover. I mean, it's just like a pushover. And I definitely want to attack them before the Cylons do. I'm worried the Cylons will send a fleet. I won't have a chance. Nazen will be gone. You know, they're subterranean, that race. I just noticed that the Darloks had subterranean on it. And that means that they can also fulfill a population niche that the Sakura do. And so they would be a worthy addition for that. Let me see here. How can I build transports faster? So I'm going to have very little extra food. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and try to rush some transport. Let me see what Razam's doing. I'm willing to rush a robo miner plant so I can really redouble my efforts in terms of production. And what does Hayek do? Alright, whatever. Alright, so these elections come early and often because it's such a small universe and all the empires have already contacted each other, and hydroponic farm and whatever that was. Okay, so alright, so I want to do some invading. Fusion rifle is going to be an early bonus. Let me go ahead and try to grab that as quickly as I can. And again, can I just like buy a short by 38? Alright, next turn I would actually have enough. Alright, I did that because I knew I would make enough money to actually buy it this turn. And continue to focus a lot on science. Alright, so one transport, probably not what it takes to knock off a planet. Not the capital of someone's homeworld, alright. Again, I almost always hire heroes or leaders whenever they come up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I want some more MIRV nuclear missiles. Go ahead and buy this guy. Go back to Seoul. Can't buy that, huh? Alright, Alright, so my Navy's actually getting kind of expensive. What are you building? Transports. I definitely need the transports. Alright. I'm gonna have to grind some turns. Fusion rifle, that'll help. Also, I'm building navies, so I kind of would like to double down on Space Academy, but I am just double checking to make sure there's nothing else of note. Alright, so Space Academy is a pretty big bonus. Probably could have done that earlier. Damn you, true Orions. Alright, let me do some trades. It would be awesome if people didn't have to steal from me. Whatever. Alright, so are they still at war with the Alkari? They are. It's too bad. I mean, both the Alkari and the Trilarians would make really nice allies, but they've been just at war with each other. I think the Alkaris have mostly been on the losing side. Anti-missile rockets. No. They don't trade technology very often, do they? Well, I don't really want a peace treaty. Let me see what I can do with these guys. Alright. They're repulsive, so I can never make a contract with them. So they, that pretty much forces them to be antagonists no matter what they do. Alright, so what is going on Navy-wise? I got one transport, one Firefly. I got a Firefly 2 and a Scout. Alright, Firefly 2 I'm sending to Seoul. I'm gonna send the Scout to Nazen just to literally scout it. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so I'm pretty far behind in a couple of things, but I'm trying to imagine what would be the best. Alright, a battle scanner ends up being kind of irreplaceable. I don't feel like I'm making a highly informed decision. I don't know. I just kind of mail it in there. Neural scanner. Help me with my D's. Alright. I feel like the battle scanner adds some bonuses that are never replaced over the course of the game. So I'm gonna roll with it. Alright. Let's see if I can buy another ship. Oh, nope. I can buy it if I wanted to. Gonna have another transport, and I think it's time to invade. Let's see how close they are to finishing theirs. One more turn. Alright, so Nazen has a single starbase and 7 transports. Alright, so I'm just gonna hang out. I don't have to leave. They couldn't make me. Alright, so my Navy is getting expensive. Plus 9 BC. That's down from like, what are they doing? Oh, they're gonna colonize the toxic world, huh? 2 turns. That's not good. Alright, so I'll let them colonize that toxic world. It's going to be a while before they can turn those other worlds into anything. So I'll probably just invade their worlds before then. And in the meantime, I really just want to capture Nazen, which is much more valuable than the small toxic world that they're eyeing. They're stupid, to be honest. If they declare war on me, maybe this is... Wait, we got a non-aggression pact. Let me see the report. Honorable ecologist. I think they will not attack me. I am really hoping that that honorable thing pans out. I've seen that I've played a game once where the Cylons had pacifist as a racial trait. You can see here that they are honorable technologists. So this personality stuff, this will change from game to game, but it tends to be pretty relevant. It's pretty informative. It will tell you what their behavior is going to be. All right, so next turn, then I'm going to send my ships to Nazen. All right, so my star bases automatically are equipped with that, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get shields. I'm going to leave one Firefly on Earth. I just don't know what anyone would want with Nazen. Alright, so I'm starting to lose money. Alright, finish the starport. That is good. Darlock Cylon at peace. That is good. War. Oh, what is it good for? It's good for keeping me fed. Yeah. Alright, so I'm hoping my missiles can put the hurt on this thing. I'm gonna shoot, and then I'm gonna retreat, and then I'm gonna see how much damage I do. And I want all my ships to survive. I don't want to hurt my navy if I don't. The Darlock seem to be struggling scientifically. Laser cannons, no computer, titanium armor. They are pretty primitive. So it's not like they have a lot of missile defenses. My Firefly 2, they're up here. These missiles are going to be worth. They'll do an impressive amount of damage compared to the others. They shot a single laser at me. Looks like I already fired. Is that already done? This guy still has a missile. I don't know what's going on. Grandpa Simpson or something. So this guy still has a missile too. Well, I hit the done button. I don't think I meant to. just trying to keep the general retreat going. If you can move further towards the edge of the screen, I suggest you do so. See those much bigger integers, 64, stuff like that. Those were the Merving nuclear missiles. They do 4 times as much damage as like whatever their basic stat is. Really making them, I mean, as you can see, quite destructive. Leviathan killers, if you will. Knock down their shields. They got 7 infantry. Well, I really invested a lot. Well, I got the fusion rifle. I think I got some other tech. I forget, but I tend to try to grab some stuff that gives me good infantry. I outnumber them. I'm gonna invade. Wrong button. Plus 20, plus 20. Not good. I won with 1 infantry. The Darlocks are dead. ECM jammer. So that will go on my star bases, and you know, missiles really count. Normally, like in a much bigger map, I don't feel missiles are not a big priority. But on a map this dense, especially like early game, because there's so much conflict early game, and missiles make up for the bad accuracy with beam weapons, so missiles are really good early. ECM jammers matter a little bit more. Anti-missile rockets are actually pretty effective, but I never really set aside space for them on my ships because they're not really all that optimal. But again, they go well on a starbase or a battle station. They're automatically equipped, and they do shoot down missiles. Alright, go team. Team Death America? Death Captains of Death Captain Country. Alright, so mostly focusing on getting like some security, automated factory would be good. They'll assimilate pretty quickly, which is nice. My racial bonus. I want to distribute my navy back to my worlds. Just, I don't know. Spreading your navy out is not an effective strategy. Alright, what's going on? You're not producing food. You got the SADs. You're like, oh, my entire people have been enslaved. I'm so sad. Alright, does that make enough food? It does, but I should start looking into making some more transports. Alright. Who is that? Well, so the Simons, maybe they'll colonize that useless toxic world. That would be stupid. But they might do it anyway. Alright, so I'm like pretty happy. I definitely feel like I am doing well on this map. I have to knock on some wood and not take that for granted. Alright, toxic worlds. Alright, so you see how the map is now mestasizing, or metastasizing. Whatever. So I have my little fiefdom over here. The Meklar are, or the Trilarians apparently. Altair has been under constant attack from the Trilarians, and now you can see how it's like they share in 2 different solar systems. But the Trilarians are ultimately kind of hemmed in here. I can only imagine that this star down here is either got a monster or is, incapable of hosting a colony. And then over here, I think over here where the Klackons are, again, I lost contact with them, and I wonder if they'll honor our trade treaties when we reach contact again. I would rather that the Cylons not colonize Hack. Few would opt to colonize a toxic world, and I don't want to share space with them, but we have an alliance, and so they're pretty much free to do that, and there's really no chance in heck I can stop them. Maybe it'll just make capturing a Cylon world that much easier when it's time for me to slay them. And it's good to capture a Cylon world because they just produce so much science. It's a real freaking bounty. Class 1 shields, UCM jammer. Alright. I love the anti-grav harness because it's a nice bonus to your Space Marine groups, and it never goes away. Thing is, I'm not sure if I had like another war I was confident I was going to get into, I'd be more interested. I'm going to go ahead and get the fusion drive. It's a small speed bonus. It's pretty cheap. It'll be done quickly. So they're moved on to Etana. Sounds like an insurance company. The one I named. Alright, a missile base. Does that seem useful? I think it's pretty early. I'm not facing violent incursions. The missile base might be really second in value compared to what a colony base could do. For one thing, just permanently securing the toxic world. I deride it. It's useless. But as long as it's open, it's going to attract random colony ships coming by. Same is true in Hayek. Also a toxic world. And if humans can live in toxic worlds, if humans can live in Miami, they can certainly live there. Alright, Starbase is honestly very worthy of building, as is a colony base. Alright, so that's small toxic. So maybe I should take that soil enrichment much more seriously, because I'm going to be colonizing these toxic worlds, and that means I need to support them food-wise elsewhere in the Empire. I am pretty interested in colonizing that. Normally, I do treat it like a bigger priority, and I think it's for good reason. Because if I build a colony earlier, that means that colony is making production earlier, and they're going to build their automated factory earlier, and so on. I think another advantage is soon I'll have Nazen. They'll be cooperative with me instead of resistant, and with that, I'll finally they'll be producing a lot more food than they are currently. All right, automated factory is really important, but I need freighters. Definitely, I grow weary of food shortages. Yeah, and the fusion drive will help my navy travel my empire quicker. I don't have a very big empire, but I do feel like controlling 4 star systems in an incredibly competitive map like this is really difficult. I've been really blessed to have really friendly races. I have the Altarians, I got the Trilarians, and I got the Cylons. They always get along with humans, so it's just like, oh yeah, I walked right into Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I mean, over here on the right, we got the Slaw, and we have the Klackons, and I believe the Silicioids are on the map. I've seen them when we do the race votes. I'm pretty sure there's Silicioids. So it's funny. So we got the lizards, and we got the insects, and we got the rock people. Those three races are always very competitive. I mean, they're very aggressive. War. They don't do well in diplomatic stuff. And so on the right-hand side of the map is definitely very barbarian-like, very violent. The left-hand side of the map instead has these very scientifically minded races. Definitely the Cylons are obviously science, but the humans have a huge science bonus themselves. They might not get all the toys the way the Cylons do, but the humans can get through the tech tree pretty aggressively. And I think it's possible to merge the race qualities of the Cylons with the government of the humans, but I gotta kidnap some Cylons. Usually my best plan for kidnapping races that I'm like really good friends with is to wait until one of their planets falls, and then I take that planet back, and I take, so I'll like invade, I'll take the planet, and I'll send that population to my world so I can have some of them. And then if it's a world I don't really want, if it's like hard to defend, I don't want to lose it because maybe the tech will like get away from my empire or something like that. I sometimes give it back to the race, and I get a huge diplomatic bonus from it. And so I not only get to kidnap people from their world, I get a huge bonus when I sell it back to them. And so that's pretty damn manipulative, and it's awesome. And I just, like a vulture, wait around for weaknesses, exploit, and invade, conquer their worlds. Alright, moving forward. Cylons chose to see what's going on here. Looks like they found a barren world. I'm interested if they colonize that barren world. Alright. Fusion drive. Shield capacitors are actually pretty sick. You can use shield capacitors with some pretty high level shields and absorb a lot of damage. But so 900, I'm actually going through science pretty good. Soil enrichment, I'm sick. I'm not sick, but it's just like I spend a lot of population building food, and I would like to get more for their work. Alright, so I'm spawning. It's romantic, really. It's definitely romantic. This is the stuff romance novels are made out of. Spawning. Alright, so I'm going to take some of this population, and I'm going to build a colony base, of course, and then I'm going to reassign them to industry because I need to get some of that stuff built. Let's see what Nathan's doing. I'm about to have a food shortage, to be real. Just being real, yo. I'm going to run out of food because I'm going to colonize 2 worlds, and now because of that I just now have a surplus of 2, so I should be able to feed my new planets, but I'm always going to have to be supplying food to them because they're both toxic worlds and will never grow much food. I'll be able to create underground farms, but the population levels probably always need imports. Well, out here in Hayek, that's a million space. Alright, it's nice having something like a missile base, because a missile base is a lot cheaper to build than a star base, and a missile base is pretty formidable at defense. So the fact that I was able to get that, or maybe I traded for it, I can't remember, but that ends up being like it's a really good asset. It's nice to have that, because then you don't feel the pressure to build a star base. You can defend yourself with something much less commitment. Go ahead and buy this so I don't have to wait around for it. I always think it's funny when I have more colonies in some of my far-flung star systems. There's 2 colonies in Hack, for example, and there's only 1 colony on my home star system. I am expanding faster than I often normally would. I feel that the Cylons and the Altarians and the Trilarians aren't planning anything aggressive towards me. I hope I'm not being stupid. I could definitely be a fool here. However, because they don't seem to be aggressive, I'm going to go ahead and myself be aggressive in terms of trying to populate the worlds around me, so that I can quickly start building these into really powerful star systems that produce a lot of resources. I'll go ahead and colony base will be... research lab is definitely always a priority. Get that built so that I can just endlessly build research. Maybe I can do some trades. And I've avoided, I've been interested in an alliance with the Trilarians and the Altarians, but they're always at war with each other, and I don't want to get pulled into a war. And I wish that they had peace with each other, so that the 4 Mentar, the Cylons, the humans, the Altarians, and the Trilarians, they're very similar races. It'd be nice if we could have instead got along. Alright, so the Trilarians are much more powerful than the Altarians. So I'm going to propose an alliance. And I'm going to play the parties against each other. And get another alliance, because freak yeah. Declare war. I wanted to see what options were here. Make peace with, break alliance with. I was actually hoping I could be like, I want you to make peace with or become friends with the Altarians. Now, okay, my alliance with the Cylons is much more important than my alliance with these other entities. I don't think the other entities are really built to last. The Cylons are going to be probably my toughest foe at the end of the game. So my alliance with the Cylons matters a lot more. So there are such things as second class citizens. I don't, second tier, I don't care. I will betray you. Haha, I'll betray you first. Definitely first. Alright, sitting pretty here, capture Nathan. Just go ahead and grind some turns. My enemies are on the opposite side of the map, This is an unusual luxury. Okay, so here's what's not happened yet. I have not had to fight the Anterans. And so what's unique about this version of my Let's Play, instead of like the previous one I put on YouTube, is the last one there were no Anterans. This time Anterans are coming. It's just a matter of time. Alright, Silicioids. I can't trade with them, so whatever. Alright, good. The Klackons are back in contact. I don't know what changed. Maybe they both got science. But I previously actually had a nice treaty going on with the Klackons, but then they lost contact with me. And so immediately started trade contract. That is awesome. You know, as a human, I win by having a sycophantish relationship with the entities throughout the map, and I'm continuing to play that up. So again, back to something I started this episode with, I feel like playing as a human is really kind of easy. Again, in contrast to playing as like a Klackon, which I found to be brutally hard. Alright, I remember microbiotics. What I like about it, it immediately impacts your whole empire. That is pretty impressive. Alright, so I'm going to go for anti-grav harness. It is... There will come a time when I have to invade the right-hand side of the map. Gyro destabilizer is neutralized by ships that have reinforced hulls. So I typically, the gyro destabilizer doesn't last the whole game, but gyro harnesses are actually dangerous the whole for a long time until the end of the game. The only thing that really stops a gyro harness, or the grav harness, I'm sorry, the only thing that stops a grav harness is if the opponent also has a grav harness, the advantage is neutralized, which is pretty sick, because there's some technologies where it's like, okay, I got a fusion rifle, and then the next time you got like a neutron blaster. The neutron blaster replaces the fusion rifle. It doesn't stack on it, but a grav harness stacks with other stuff that you can get. All right, so Sol is about to build a colony base. Looking forward to this. All right, so I basically, outside of Nazen, of all the worlds so I can have a colony, I have built one now successfully. This is an unusual piece. It's just not the kind of game, not the kind of interaction with the game I'm used to. Sakura. Alright, so I have to take a look at Nazen. 18. That is more people than... Alright, so I'm sending a citizen to Sol. I think my main planet's Sol 2. Right? Yeah, okay, good. Alright, they're 12 of 12. I better move someone to the poor world. I'll just say Sol Prime here. Alright. And I'm going to do that again. Normally I can just click up here. I don't know why it wasn't working for me. Whatever. So when the Darlock arrives, they'll be able to expand my subterranean population bonus. which is actually a pretty good population bonus. If I could stack that again with some aquatic racial bonus. So I need freighters. I am in negative freighter land. I could lose population or food. Alright, so I built enough freighters. Good. Alright, there's only one world I can actually build on. Well, that's funny. Biosphere is definitely meant to be last. So I think it would make sense to prioritize soil enrichment, my ability to grow food, over biospheres. I'm about to get the Darlock race guy. He's going to show up here, and my population limit is going to go from 12 to like 18. So I don't really need to focus on the biospheres on these planets for that reason. One settler. All right, so I had 12. Now I have 18, and that's all because this Darlock showed up. But with that, I will need to make more food. And so the soil enrichment will end up feeding my empire. A negative food land. What's going on? It's just not a big enough change, is it? Okay, I don't understand this. It says -4 food. Now I'm making +2. Okay, so 2. That guy can grow 2 food at once. Alright, I can do math. I figured it out. Alright, so they could not do... I'm going to prioritize a hydroponic farm. I mentioned that this was a really peaceful area. I think a hydroponic farm could take the burden off Sol a little bit. Alright, humans, most populated galaxy. Cylons voting for the humans. So are the Trilarians. Oh, we got the Alliance. I feel like if I hadn't lost contact with the Klackons, I could have brought them into the Alliance. Wow, I'm up to 8 votes. I don't think this is going to go anywhere, though. He votes for Sakura. 12 votes for me. Not quite 50%. Still, that's one of the best showings I've ever had in a vote. This is a pretty early vote. Is this the... I'm pretty sure this is not the first one. Yeah. No, this is the first one. The humans have actually been on the ballot. We've been second fiddle most of the time. Ah, so the Sakura stole biospheres. That kind of stacks with their other powers. So around like turn 124, I think that's when the Antarans start making their attacks. So I should probably try to have some sort of 5 turns. Yeah, soil enrichment's worth it. As soon as I can take these people off farming because I'm making enough food, the sooner the better. So the Antarans, they're going to be here pretty soon. I can't recall exactly if it's turn 124 or what, but they're certainly on the horizon. What's going on over here? Sakura is trying to attack Altarians. Anti-grav harness, nice. Alright, planetary radiation shield is very valuable. It obviously is more famous for turning radiated planets into barren planets, which can be terraformed. But also, as much as it pains me to say this, as soon as you have a planetary radiation field, all my awesome Mervine nuclear missiles no longer do anything. Alright, I'd like to know what happened on San. I cannot have the people I am allied with warring with each other. Alright. I'm sure that they're irritated that someone would colonize a world in their own star system. Again, that's one reason I like quickly built colony bases for those toxic worlds, because there's so few planets. These other races are gonna just go in there and try to snipe them. So I wish I had the optronic computer. That would be nice. Iridium fuel cells would also be nice. Ion drive is better than my drive. Maybe they'll trade something, but no one else is trading technology right now, and they're no different. Alright, so maybe the Klackons can also be a member of my sort of human social party. I mean, considering the Altarians and the Trularians are gonna go to war with each other at any minute, all the time, then I cannot, possibly say that we have a strong alliance to keep the peace or whatever. Actually, if you look at the map, I bet I could get everyone to gang up on, and it's probably not in my best interests. I have to think about this. So the Klackons, they're already going to be bought. I'm going to bring the Klackons into the fold. Everyone else is like buddy-buddy with me. I should try to keep the Sakura as my voting opponent, because I bet I can get the Klackons to vote for me. I can have a big population because I'm going to maximize my own stars more than the Cylons. And considering if I can maintain this alliance, I can continue to get their vote. My goal would be to always be running against Sakura, so that their vote, my allies' vote, would always go to me. And maybe I would actually have a chance. So I'll probably end up exploring that. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap up this episode. I think I will record one more episode tonight. So this will be the end of episode 2, and I will still play another hour, and that will be episode 3. So Humanverse. That's a good enough name. Alright, this has been the end of episode 2 of the Humanverse. I think I was going to come up with a better name, but I still haven't.